Now with 100% more ducks.
Howdy folks, Grok the DuckFarmer here, and I'm on the FTOG Avant3 server, hanging out here at the Botania area, because we're going to do a little bit more Botania stuff. Yep, in the last episode, I had the quest to make every mana generating flower, and we did a pretty good job. Let's take a quick look at the Lexica. Endoflames, well, let's go look at the stuff I had already. So I already had Entropinium. Those eat TNT explosions. The Gormorillus eats food. The Munchdew eats leaves. And the Narslimus eats slimes. So I already had those in place. I went ahead and made some Endoflames. Those eat burnable stuff like coal. I went ahead and made Hydrangeas, which those consume water. And the Rafflesia, which eats flowers like the hydrangea. I went ahead and made the Kekimerus that eats cake, and the Rosa Arcana, which eats player experience, and then also the Thermalily, which eats lava. So all of those I've done. The remaining ones are the Dandelifeon, which that's the Conway Game of Life. That's later. The Spectrolus. This eats wool, and it eats the different colored wools, and it eats them in order. So that's the stuff that it wants to do. So let's go ahead and make one of those. And I happen to have on me, right here, all the bits that we need to make one of those Spectroluses. Spectrolus? Whatever. Air, winter, pixie dust, keep forgetting that one. Tossing all these petals and the seed. Boom! There's my Spectrolus. And that I always like to make floating. So there's my floating Spectrolus. Oh, it's just right at the point where it flips on either side. That's kind of annoying. I wish it wouldn't. I wish it would be nicer than that. Anyway, so let's get one of those floating bits. So we can do the Spectrolus. But before we go off and show that off, I want to show some of the changes I made downstairs. Alright, so one of the first set of changes, these are not the regular mana spreaders anymore. I upgraded them to the Elven spreaders, just so they'd be a little bit faster pushing stuff around. I could go with more augments to the sparks, you know, because I just have the one augment there, so it's that's a recessive, so it pushes out its mana to all the rest of them. Same with that one down there, it also has the recessive mana spark on it. But that's the leftover bits from last time, and we don't really care about that. But here you can see I've got a whole bunch of Kekimerus. And I decided I liked these things. They can eat cakes pretty darn fast, and so that's a quick way of generating some mana. And I was having problems here with this mechanical user. I kept setting it to redstone off, and I was wondering why it wasn't working. And the answer is because the redstone was off, and so it was constantly placing those. What I wanted was it on, the redstone turned on, so that it would stop it. And you can see I've got this little redstone lever here, and that's turning it on, and so that's disabled it. I also have this little redstone receiver, so I can remotely from here get the signal. So when this comparator reads that the mana pool is half full, it sends out a signal which will turn off these dispensers, and they'll stop spitting out the TNT, and that will tell the Kekimerus to stop doing their eating. So let's take a quick look at this mana pool. How much mana is in there? So that's like a quarter of a quarter. So that's what we're looking at. Let's turn this off, and that will start placing the cakes, and we can see the Kekimerus are starting to eat away. They don't eat instantly. They take a little bit of time to kind of chew and devour this stuff, but there's so many of them, it can go through this slice of cake pretty darn fast. So I think that's the third cake. I wasn't really paying attention. Were you paying attention? Yeah, I wasn't paying attention. So we'll let this go ahead and eat all those. Chomp, 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 chomp. Yum. Alright, so let's take a quick look and see what, I think that was four cakes deliver for us. Ooh, that kind of like doubled it. So that's pretty impressive. So if that did 4, then we'd need 16 for a quarter, which means 64 cakes would fill up this mana pool. Yeah, this is just kind of rough guesstimation as far as that. So I do like these. I've got the little recipe crafter in here, so it says, yeah, make me a cake as fast as you can. So it works. It works really well. So what was it that I was trying to hide behind me? This monstrosity. This is what I'm trying to hide. This is what I need to consume the wool. Well, no, I lied. This floating Spectrolus, that is what I need to consume the wool. This is the process I have in place to dispense the wool. And so here's what I've got. I've got an hourglass here. I use the wand. It tells me that I've got 16 sand in there, so it's a 16-second timer. It hits this redstone, which hits the repeater, and that, on 4 ticks, punches into this automatic precision dropper. And if we right-click this, you can see there's all sorts of wool in here. And it's the white wool. That's the first one it wants, and then the signal gets passed on to the next one, which gives us orange, and the next one, which gives us the magenta, and then the light blue, etc., etc., all the way around till red and black, which are the last. And let's go ahead and snag a piece of wool real fast. Oh, too slow. I've got 2 pieces of wool. I'm gonna put the Spectrolus. Let's put it right here, so you can see its range is such that when this oh, it just ate that wool. You can see it's now wanting orange, and because when you arrow or hover over with the wand, it tells you what the wool is looking for. So it had yellow. It had white. Yes, I know my colors. Let's see. Are you bound? Yes, you are automatically bound to this one. Let's triple check. Yep. So this should be able to go ahead and send mana. Oh, it's got a little bit of mana from that one. Here's the fun thing, is if you send it some wool that's not the color it's expecting, it eats it and nothing happens. There's no more mana being generated because it's looking for orange. And when it gets orange, it makes mana. If it gets any other wool, it just eats it and gives nothing back. Stingy flower. So this sends the signal down through the system and around and around and around, and then it stops. I don't need it to go any further. I don't need it to repeat. I could, if I really wanted to, I could slap something here to bridge that or do something to get that past here, but nope, don't want to. I want this to come from this pulse. Now this is set to 16 seconds, and these are all set to 4 ticks, except for the corner where I've got it on 2, but 2 plus 2 is 4. Yes, it is. Math on camera, that can be really difficult, but I survived. I mastered it. Anyway, so this is the order in which the wool needs to be done, and you can tell what the order is. If we come in here and do wool, you can see this is the color order that you want the wool. And there's an F3 command, and I can't remember, maybe it's F3H, that pops up the numbers. And so you can see wool is Minecraft object number 35, and white has the metadata of 0, and orange has the metadata of 1, and all the way up to black having the metadata of 15. So that's, you can, if you've got those metadata information, you can see exactly what it is that you need, or you just look at the order and you're good. Anyway, I went ahead and set those all out using these precision droppers because they need to drop in order. They need to drop the same way each time. It would have been far cheaper to make just regular dispensers or droppers. The problem with those is they spit off in slightly different directions. They don't always spit directly right in front of them, and so I couldn't use them because in my testing I was playing with this, and maybe this one would spit a little bit to the left, and then this next one would spit a little bit over to the right, or vice versa, and so they would get out of sync. And that just wasn't good at all. Didn't want that at all. These spit out exactly the way I want them to. Now, I do love the iron droppers because they're really cheap, but in my testing, when these 4-tick pulses went through, they were spitting out multiple wools. And I was going, no, I don't want that. I want just one wool each time. Because again, if it gets something it doesn't want, it just gobbles it up. So I want to be sparing with my wool. Next to each one of these droppers, I have a comparator into a block, and I went with the colored wool just so that I could see which ones I was dealing with. And there's a redstone torch on the opposite end. So that signal saying I've got stuff, that turns off this redstone torch. If any of these droppers runs out of wool for some reason, then the comparator no longer is getting a signal. This torch will turn on. Or any of them, actually. And then this cable goes all the way around. So as soon as it gets a signal, it slaps into this block right here. And that charges this, and so it disables the process. So this thing's been clicking every 16 seconds for the entire time we've talked here. And nothing's happened because I've got this turned on with this override here. And I love having overrides. Don't you? You got to have a way to turn things off. This turns off automatically, and here I'm saying, no, stop, don't do any. So here's, oh, no, let's Shift E, because I want to grab my magnet off. Magnets are a real problem with this, and I've got the solenolia here that's supposed to stop me from snagging things. I was, in testing and playing with this, I was picking up wool like crazy. You're supposed to be working. Why are you not working? I don't know why it's not working. So I'm turning off my magnet. So let's go ahead and see. We already gave it the white, but let's go ahead and get the rest of the stuff going through. So we'll turn that off, and you can see the signal is slowly going off. And as soon as this flips around, it'll send a little pulse. It's that weird thing where, there it goes. And there's drop, 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 drop. And the vector plates are zipping it around. And there they come. Black. Hey. Was that a glitch? Oh, we're back to white. So it ate all of the wool in all the colors all the way through black, and it's waiting for white to come again. And so here goes the second round. Zoom. And they come flying around and gobble, 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 gobble. I think what looked like the black and red were down there was just a visual glitch. So I've got this on 16 seconds and 4 pulses, not pulses, ticks for each cycle, because I wanted to make sure that this would work correctly. You can see there's a little bit of a gap between these. I could tighten this up more. I could do this at 8 seconds and maybe 2 ticks between. And in single player, that worked great. It was fine every time I did it. But I'm on a multiplayer server. Sometimes the ticks are being eaten up, especially if somebody's exploring someplace new. And so I said, just to be on the safer side, I went with 16. But you can see it's working just fine. In fact, if we take a look back to white, here I'm actually going to hang down here so we can see the colors change as it eats them. So we start with white, orange, it's going faster than I can say them. Isn't that cool? I like that. I think that's a cool system. Are there ways of doing this that's pure Botania and vanilla Minecraft bits? Yes, there's ways of doing that. I don't care. I like using different mods, so I'm using the vector plates, I'm using these conduits, I'm using the precision droppers. I'm okay with that. I'll turn that off. The only complaint I have is that when I flip the switch to turn things off, or if one of these things gets empty and the signal goes out and it turns it off, it sends a pulse through. And so there is going to be a little bit of lost wool, 15 pieces. Well, I've got 4,000 or 5,000 of each of these colors. I don't care. It's possible to set it up so that it wouldn't lose, but frankly, I don't care. This is cleaner for me. I haven't shown how the wool is getting here. Underneath here, there is a refined storage exporter. If we take a look, it's set up with each of the colors that it needs. And that's another reason why I use these colors, because that kept me in track of what I was trying to do. I need black here, and if we take a look, it's got all the black because the exporter underneath it is set up to use all black. Now, if we take a look, there's a cover here in front of each of these just so that it would be able to slip through. And I'm going to have to turn off the Discord notifications. But this actually works. This actually works really nicely. And I've got a network receiver here, and there's the transmitter. Yeah, I didn't want to have a cable go between the two. I'm that lazy. I didn't want it to look that ugly, so I went ahead and did that. So how's the mana here? All right, so this was what, 4 or 5 iterations of the wool? I lost track. Did you count? I didn't count. So let's see what 5 iterations of wool did. Oh, yeah. That was like, 3-4 of the cake. So that's a pretty decent setup. And since I've got lots and lots and lots of wool, this is not bad. And it's not bad. It was pretty easy to get this all set up, as you see. In fact, here, let me zoom up so you can actually take an overhead look. And, if you want to see how I made it, there you go. Anyway, I'm not going to keep this. I like it, but no, I'm more impressed with the cake eating, TNT eating, and my case, steak eating flowers as far as mana generation is concerned. I'm going to go ahead and clean this up and clean that up and get them out of here, but I will go ahead and keep those Kikimorous. I like those. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and turn that off, so we're going to get this back up to the full strength. Well, it's not full strength. It's got the hiccups. It's going to go to 8, so half a pull. But this way, as things are needed, it will go ahead and do what I need here. I did make a whole bunch of Terra Steel just so I can make some armor, and that ate a lot of the mana out of the pools. And I was watching how this was working and played with the Kikimorous, and I said, yeah, I like it. I like how that works. So the Spectrolus done. Next, the Dandelifeon. This one, let's see what the recipe is. Did you read all that? I didn't. Not that fast. This uses the air, earth, fire, water, greens, purples, and a Gaia Spirit shard. So that makes this Dandelifeon. And this one's a weird flower in that it wants the Conway's Game of Life setup, and you can read this that you want. It's going to be fairly ornate to make one of those, and I'm going to set up an area, I think, in the mining world. So let's go do that, and we'll get this set up. And will I use it? No, but I'll get it set up. Alrighty, I think I have everything to get this final flower going. So I went off here to the mining world because I could find a nice flat area, and I've got a 25 by 25 area inside this wool border. That's where all the Game of Life stuff is going to go. Get out of here, duck. You're not wanted. And so let's go ahead and make that flower. So if we go right here, let's see, air, earth, fire, water, Gaia, those, and a seed. Really? Did I not pick up a seed? Seed! Alright. Yay. Okay, so there's the Dandelifeon. And I had a seed earlier, but I messed up. Okay, so let's get the floating bits. And I'm going to go ahead and stick that right there. I left that there so I'd have an indication as to where it needs to be. And you can see that there's the 25 by 25 border that it's looking at. And if you look at the pattern, it's shifting and changing. And duck, you are in the way, so bye-bye. All right, so we need to get bits here. Let's actually go ahead and read the book. Yes, reading the manual. Ain't nobody got time to read the manual. I'm going to need some of these cellular blocks, and I've got them stacked up here so I can make lots of them. But so if you've never done anything with the Conway's Game of Life, there's a simple rule. So 25 by 25, you place these cellular blocks, and then it's going to be either living or dead every tick. So each block looks at its neighbors around it, the 8 blocks around it, and it says if it's a live cell with 2 or more, let's see, with fewer than 2 or more than 3 live neighbors, it dies, overpopulation. If any live cell has exactly 2 or 3 live neighbors, it lives on, and any dead cell with exactly 3 living neighbors becomes a live cell. So that's kind of the basic rule. Now let's come into here, let's grab some cellular blocks, and this is where I'm not sure what all we need to do here. Now there are some funky patterns that you can do with these cell blocks. So this, because this cell here has exactly 3 neighbors, it will live on. And this one has exactly 3 neighbors. This is very stable. It doesn't make any changes whatsoever. There's a gap here. So here, let's if you break it, it goes. So this is another one of those very stable ones. It will cycle back and forth. This is another one of those stable forms. Let's make some more of these for fun. Those are all stable forms. Let's see, what's some of the other ones that I was thinking of. We got that one, so we've got this one will oscillate about. Okay, and this pattern is kind of funky. It's this one we saw, and then this one over here, that'll do some funky stuff. And then I think that's, let's play with this. Oh, get a little experience. Experience. Now, what this needs is okay, so this flower, let's check, is bound to here, which goes up to the mana pool, and there's nothing there. This will consume anything that's around it in that little area. Otherwise, as it ticks along, it will go ahead and play the game of life here with these guys. So you see, this one flips, flops, whereas this one here, yeah, a little server tick. This is one reason why I don't want to run this on the server. The flips, flops around. So let's go ahead and break that. Alrighty, so these are very, very stable. They don't do anything because they've got exactly the right number of friends around them. This one kind of oscillates. That one flip-flops around. These all gain ages, and as they gain ages, as they grow, the more ages they have, up to 100, the more mana they produce. Now, we need to get something here in the center. So one of the easiest ways to do that is to set up a glider. So let's go down to here and over here. So boom, 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 boom. Oh, I need one more. All right, let's get some more. That's all I need for right now. And I need one right here. This, if I remember my Game of Life stuff, this will make a glider that will go off in that direction and collide there. So then when this collides here around it, then it will get consumed along with everything else. Now, what I'm not 100% sure is it just these that collide with it that's real close, or everything on the board will generate mana. I don't know. We're going to find out. Plop. All right, so here's the little guy here. This he slowly shifts based on the rules, and the rest of them are all static ones, but this one will slowly move. And if I aimed him right, he's going to, yeah, it looks like he's going to collide. And so he's going to cause it to get eaten. And now they're all gone. So that's a burst of mana. Let's see. And they all got eaten up. And let's see how much mana. Not a whole lot of interesting mana there. So let's go ahead and make a bunch more. And yeah, I'm looking at this. I could set up some sort of system underground to when a pulse is made. I could detect a pulse being sent through here, and that would replace all the items, or maybe turn off the redstone to give me a chance to place all the items, and then turn the redstone signal back on, and then let this run until there's a burst of mana again. Yeah, I'm not caring that much. So let's go ahead and I'm gonna go do and space, because these are, again, I'm not sure if these actually produce any mana, or if the fact that they're here, they just disappear and that's it. I don't know. Let's make a few more. Let me count my notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, yeah, perfect. Let's do 9. This, hey, nope, stop. Let's go ahead and make a different sort of glider, and I think this one goes horizontally. So let's go, we need one here, and one here, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, and there. If I remember my stuff and my notes are correct, then this will be another one of those gliders, but it's going to go straight rather than angled like that one did. Let's see. And plop that right there. And there it goes. Flip, flip, flip. Oh, that must have been too close. And they're gone. And poof, all done. I thought I'd put them far enough away, but evidently I did not. So mana. Okay, so you can see that I could fill this board up with a whole bunch of static or repeating shapes, let them grow so that they hit the age of 100, which is when it produces the most mana, and then send in a glider that would go ahead and hit this and go. Yeah, I don't see any reason to go ahead and do this. It's a fairly cheap flower to make. Yeah, I don't see any reason. I really don't. If it generated far more mana than it currently does, then that would be a possibility, but I'm not impressed. If you've got a really good pattern that you know of, let me know in the comments, a link to it or something like that. That would be fantastic. But otherwise, I haven't played much with Conway's Game of Life. I did with it a little bit. There are a couple books that are very interesting on it, even some sci-fi novels that have the Game of Life as something done inside the book, as part of the story. Yeah, but I'm not all that impressed with it. It's not, there's these really cool mathematical rules. You can do some really fantastic structures that will, it looks like a giant blob, but it will send out these little bits to the center, which sends out some other stuff, and it makes a whole bunch of repeaters that, as it goes along, it sets up these things that will shoot off the darts or the skiffs or whatever you want to call them, and it'll just make endless barrages of them. I don't care. I would rather do fun stuff than the Game of Life. Yeah, I don't care. But I think we did it. Let's take a look at the Botania. Let's skip back one. Done. Not done. No, I'm kidding. Done. So I have gone ahead and collected mana from each and every one of these flowers. And some of them are better than others. I love the hydrangeas. I love them. I think they look really nice. I made a base that was in the water, kind of like the mana base, the Botania base that I have now, except it went all the way to the surface. And so I put ring or columns of those hydrangeas along the sides because they were able to suck the water through the walls. They looked great. The mana flowed down to the center and then flowed up. At night, it was fantastic looking. And then the mod author said, nah, I don't like to use those. They need to die. And so I said, fine, I'm done with that. It looked really cool. Mod author didn't want me to play that way, so I was done with it. But these, I can understand they're really cheap to make. Super cheap. One more. There. Super cheap to make. But it was a pain. I really like the Cakemerus if you've got the infrastructure to make those cakes automatically. Gormarillus, it's the one I keep going to more often than not. But, if you're in a void world, so you're not going to have mobs spawning all over the place, and you find a slime chunk, the Narslimus really looks pretty nice. That may be able to generate you a kicking amount of mana. And the Munch Stew, I have so many leaves I can make. But, yeah, this one and the Munch Stew, they would make a huge amount of lag on the server, so not going to do that. Got to play nice. Anyway, this has been Grok the DuckFarmer here on the FTOG Avant3 server, having fun with Botania. I made me some flowers I had never made before. Both the Spectrolus and this Dandelifeon. Yeah, pretty fun. Well, except for this one. I hope you had some fun too. Thanks for watching. Bye.